baby, we are back. We are kicking some booty kicks today. Now, what we are going to be talking about is affordability in and out of different marketplaces. What in the heck is going on? Michael, you are active, boots on the ground right now. The real estate market is going gangbusters. What are you seeing in your market, buddy?
Dude, it's actually a weird market right now. I think inventory is slowly increasing here in the Silicon Valley, but with the rising interest rates and things like graduations and summer getting started and vacations and all of that stuff, the buyers have gotten a little bit off the racetrack and they're kind of sitting on the fence a little bit. I think we're seeing fewer people new to the market, fewer first-time buyers compared to even 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Interesting. I came in with such energy on this. I was so excited about it. I thought we were going to have a lot of positivity, and now we're sitting on the fence. All righty.
Dude, I think it is positive, though, because it's a pause, right? And I don't think we want to continue with this chaotic, frenzied thing where people are rushing out there. I think giving people 10 days before the offer date is better than 2.
Yeah, that would not suck. That would be actually really nicely if they would do that.
Right. I think that's a positive. And I think there's still money out there. I think last week we were in the 6.5 rate for
interest rates for buyers. Is that where you're going? You're just so sucked into the lifestyle right now. You're just like, what is that for?
I lost the word. I started to say insurance and I'm like, that's not the right word. No. So interest rates have gone up a little bit. And I think there's still some uncertainty. I don't know how it is in other parts of the country, but I can tell you I drive a very small car that gets 22 miles to the gallon because I've souped it up a little bit, and it's costing me $7 a gallon $7 a gallon for gas.
Oh my God.
Because I have to put super in $7, and that's the cheap gas.
Oh, that just hurt my soul.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's something that the people, every other human being on planet Earth, at least in California right now, is feeling as well. I mean, you're saying you're kind of seeing a slowing, kind of a shift in the marketplace. I think there's some other factors.
I don't know that it's a shift, Greg. I think it's kind of like when we're out diving or surfing and you get on the backside of the swell and you kind of feel that like you slow down before the wave breaks over and then it becomes chaotic again. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. We're cresting up, prices are still stable. Everything's good. But there's going to be some changes. And I think those changes, interest rates, time on market, all of those things are stuff that impacts buyers, right? They see that out there. I also think when you look at the market as a whole, companies like Facebook in the Bay Area just laid off a massive amount of people with
7,000.
Yeah. And that's going to impact home buying. People that were buying maybe aren't now. And it's also going to impact sellers. There's maybe people that weren't selling that are going to sell. But I think, one of the things that we talk about all the time is people coming into the market, right? We talk about first-time home buyers. We talk about those people that are trying to get into these $1 million and $2 million homes as their first time purchase. It's tough. And I think the fact that a lot of people that have been around for a while are in the inverse problem. And Greg, I think you kind of lit my fire on that earlier. Let's talk about the people that can't afford to leave.
Okay. I mean, there's a couple of different buckets that, you can fall in. And so if you're a real estate agent, buyer, seller, investor, whatever, renter, whatever bucket you fall in, there's no bad bucket. They're all good buckets. It's really simple. I mean, the buyers seem to be, per this conversation, they're being held captive by the interest rate or the fear of the interest rate. But the old adage in the industry is you date the rate and you marry the house, right? So the rate can go up and down, but the property that you want to live in and raise your family in, experience life in, whatever it's going to be, it's not going to move. It's still going to be the same damn house. That's where you're marrying the house and dating the rate. The other side of the coin of the fact of the matter is that a lot of the folks in California, since we're talking about the South Bay, San Jose, is the fact that a lot of folks back, a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades ago, they were average human beings. They went and bought a house. That's the only crime they committed. And their exponential explosion in equity has been something that's really holding them back. And what I mean by that is this: it's a double-edged sword. One, it's phenomenal that you're getting, all this great equity. The problem child that nobody is talking about around here is the fact that it appreciated. That's our problem, because in 1978, when this bill was actually passed, it was designed to protect Americans' equity in their homes. Everyone who doesn't know what equity is, you have your purchase price, you have your sales price, and then all that stuff in the middle. That's the squishy stuff. That's your equity. That's your money. That's your success, right? So what they did is 1978 is that the average home price then was $143,000 nationally, right? And for a couple, you had a $500,000 equity growth opportunity that you could write off tax free. A single person, $250,000. No matter what, purchase at 143, you have 250,000. You can pull out a couple, 500,000. That's a huge barrier, it's a buffer. Well, it didn't account for inflation. Actually, the federal government is literally taking 15 to 20% of your equity right off the bat if you don't fall in that category of the 250 or the 500. So what really is stopping is the sellers are looking at the buyers going, yeah, why am I going to leave when I have a 6.5%, 7% interest rate I have to go buy another home at, when I'm either paid off or I'm at such a low interest rate? It makes no sense for me to move in the slightest, because even if I did move and I found something I wanted, then I would have to go and I would have to pay a six-figure fine for just owning my home. And so they're saying, like, screw it. Hey, Janet. Yeah, Steve. You know what? What are we going to do? Do you want to sell this 2-story, 5-bedroom house we raised our family in and move to a condo and have to pay the same amount and then go back into debt? Or do you just want to stay here? I'll just stay here, Bob. All right. Thanks, Janet. That's the conversation that's taking place in the marketplace. So your first-time homebuyers' opportunities are evaporating like a hot day on a river. Just poof, gone. And then the buyers are fighting over the scraps. It's just the way it goes. And then the buyers have a mental block going, well, you know what? These prices are too high. My interest rate's too high. I'm just going to step out of the game. Then every real estate agent's going like, shit, I can't afford my mortgage. I can't put my kids through school. And it's no fault of the agent. It's the market is shifting. And I do have a solution here that we can put into technology. And I want to kind of put your brain to work on this thing as a workaround, right? Here's my thought. And Michael, tear it apart and tell me I'm wrong. Is that fair?
You're wrong.
That
Too soon.
Immediate response noted. All right. So here it is. So, Michael, you are an exceptionally good prompt writer. So here's my thought. You tell me how you would prompt this out. Okay. So because I would want to see something along the lines of this as a prompt. Hey, computer system, pick your poison, whatever one you want to use. Hey, I have a buyer in X city looking to buy X type of property. We keep getting beat out on pricing. Can you please show me the best pricing model for said property? And then I was thinking like it would go to like homes.com, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, pick all the major big boys at the top of everything, right? Have it funnel out and filter out all the, look at the, use the address, then have it pick properties within, 2 miles to 5 miles out. So, active or sold in the last 6 months, correlating all of those sales prices and, price per square foot and bedroom and bath count with all of the different sites that the buyer is going to be looking at, and say, hey, look, this is exactly what the market is telling us right now that we need to do. They listed at, I'm using very round numbers, 500,000, but they sold for 750 over their list. We're seeing that $250,000 price bump. So you have to be, we have to be ready for that kind of price bump. What we're seeing is not what we're getting on pricing. Is that what you're seeing out there in live fire?
That's what I'm seeing a lot. And if I have a client that's actually interested in seeing a property, Greg, I don't run it through AI like that.
Okay, what do you do?
I actually use an RPR, and I jump in there and I create a buyer report to give them, okay, here's where it's listed. Here's where the, what do they call it? The RVM, the automated value is. And, these two numbers, if they're close, then it's realistic. And the only thing you have to worry about is will crazy money get involved?
Okay,
If
so let's figure out a way to ask that question to AI. So let's get a report from RPR, which I love
Yep.
RPR. NAR RPR. If you guys have never heard of it before and you're a licensed agent, so it's free for you. You've already paid for it in your dues. And let's say they're out and about.
Yep.
And they don't have time to run an RPR. They need to get information immediately. How would you instruct to get more data fast?
So the obvious one is Zillow. If you're on mobile and you have to do it and you are not an agent, it's going to be Zillow. I don't think there's a good prompt that you can do on mobile that's not going to take 5 or 10 minutes to sift through a myriad of other sites. You could put it into Notebook LM where you have a notebook ready with sources of Zillow, Redfin, all of that. But most people aren't going to want to do that. That's one of the places where I tend to tell people, hey, if you're out and about, you're just driving around and you forgot to invite me and I wanted to be there and I could have done this with you and I would have brought snacks and all that.
Oh, man, I want snacks.
Snacks. Then you should call me up. I'll run the RPR analysis for you and away we go.
Okay. Now I'm going to put you on your heels really quickly. Something just popped in my brain. So Google Chrome and Gemini, whatever you want to use it as, the AI feature in there. You and I were watching the Google rollout last week about their new what they're going to be doing for marketing and prospecting and everything else, which is insanely cool, by the way. But they have a new thing called Hey Maps, and now it's just what you say. You open up your little Chrome app, and it says AI. You click the AI, and then you say Hey Maps, and that unlocks the mapping feature for your geographically. Make sure your Bluetooth's on. Or you can say, Hey Maps, I'm at 456 Maple Street. Can you give me in the last 6 months how many homes have sold? 3-bed, 2-bath within a 5-mile radius of me, and how many homes are actively on the market? Pull all that information and show me what the average price per square foot is. Based upon this information. Bam, done. I've done it. It works. Now, is it 100% right? Nope. It's never going to be 100% right because the market is always going to be shifting and moving in ways that we can't see. It's like the ocean. There's an undercurrent and there's an undertow, or not, undertow is the wrong word, but the surface, ocean where you see all the waves up and down business wise. Then you have the undercurrent that moves everything around that you never see moving. That's the marketplace moving that you don't see. So, we got to be super fast. So I came up with Hey Maps, how to use that. What would be something you would do on the fly, instant gratification that someone could get, like just something as a talking point?
You could do the same thing with Claude. Just talk in there, create a prompt, ask it specifically what you want to do, and go through that route. That's a good way to do it. I don't find it the most efficient because I like to tweak the prompts as we go. But if you have a chat session available, just put it in there and say, hey, I'm looking at 123 Happy Main. This is in San Jose. I'd like you to give me an analysis of what the immediate value of this home is. Take into account any active listings that you can find, anything sold within the last 12 months, and that's plus or minus, say, 750 square feet of real estate from what I'm looking at. Don't worry about lot size necessarily because I am primarily looking in the main city, but make sure that you focus on standards of quality. I don't want a big fixer being compared to what I'm looking at as something that's move-in ready. Boom.
Okay, everyone who is listening to this right now, if you're having a problem with finding out some information, go back, start where Michael is talking, put it on speaker, and let your computer listen to you get the prompt. You just got a prompt right there that was masterfully said, and that was off the cuff that he just did. Now, imagine what that could do for you guys.
Greg, that's what you can do in the car. And I think where I would encourage people that are trying to use these tools, whether you're doing Maps or Claude or whatever, just ask the stuff in a real world question. Let it interpret it. Too many people, I hear people going, I am looking for a home, period. The address is 123, period. The city is period, and they're going through this and they're trying to create a prompt that's like structured. Be free form. Hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm looking for. I want you to go through this. If you want it to be even better, you can say, hey, Claude, act like Michael Field and the Realtor and give me this information. And it's going to go through that. And then you could say, okay, based on what you know, now put yourself in a prime negotiator standpoint. Where would this house really land as far as offers go? Because those might be different. Right now, if you look at stuff that's in East Palo Alto, for example, which has historically been a terrible location for most people to live, Meta has moved in there, and bad time to be talking about Meta, but they have raised the values. Cupertino, people are buying $2 and $3 million homes in Cupertino for the land and then totaling the home and building up something new.
Yeah, they're doing that all over California. It's bananas. I mean, there was a story down in Torrance, California, down on the beach. There was a completely burned out single family home, probably like a 3-2, like a small little 3-2, sitting on a 5,000 acre. What am I talking about in Torrance? 5,000 square foot lot. And it was 100% uninhabitable, and someone bought it for $1 million. But the upside is that thing, the resale on that thing is going to be about 2.5. So the builder made a great buy on that.
No, I get calls all the time. There's a lot for sale right now in Pacifica, which is an ocean community just south of San Francisco.
Great place.
There is a plot of land. It is like 7,000 square foot plot of land. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's being advertised right now for $20,000.
That's not going to go for $20,000.
All right. Yes, it is. And let me tell you why. There are no services, no roads. It is landlocked, meaning you can't get to it. And it's in a zone where you can't get a permit to build anything. Not to mention, Greg, that it is on probably a 45-degree slope. So not only would you have to build the road, you'd have to bring in electricity. You're not going to get a permit to put in septic. There is no access to pretty much anything that you would want in a home. But it's $20,000, and people are like, I can do this. This guy, the last guy that called me up, like, I just want to put a mobile home there and live on it. I'm like, dude, how are you going to get it there? A crane?
You can fly it in.
You can fly it in. You could helicopter that bad boy in. But now you're taking, a risk here, because what are you going to do with the sewer? How are you going to get water? You could solar and battery that baby, but your home's going to be on a 45-degree angle.
They should probably just sell it to the city, and the city can then absorb it in and make it a park or something, because that's not a rational purchase. That's a stupid purchase, because you didn't even bring up insurance, by the way. How's that thing going to get insured? Yeah. Good luck on it. It's a dumb buy. If you want to burn 20 grand, I got a bridge, to sell you.
Yep.
But I mean, in reality, for what we're talking about here is that, like, sellers are being trapped in their homes based upon equity appreciation and the massive tax hit that they're going to get smacked in the face with. And the buyers getting hit with some interest rates that are fluctuating up and down, which that's just normal, which I'm sorry, I'm going to have to fight you on the whole interest rate bullshit. Everyone who's in the industry right now buying and selling, you guys have got to grow some thicker skin. Okay. Look, back in the day, this percentage rate was a phenomenal rate. The rates at 2% was free money, and we were just we got privileged to have that. So you got to pull your head out of the sand and start being an adult about this. Look, this isn't just for fun and games or loaning you money. It's based on real money, real marketplaces. So if you want to buy. If you don't get off the fence and stop complaining like, I can't do this because of blah. Shut the up. Just do it. I mean, when my father got in the business, in Boulder, Colorado, the interest rate, a good interest rate, was 18%. That's a ripping deal. So now put that in your pipe and smoke it. Which one's better, 6.5 or 18? Which one are you going to complain about? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to that one. Now, of course, that's a blown out of proportion a little bit in regards to, reality and what's taking place in today's market. I get it. But here's the thing. Face reality. This is what you're dealing with. This is the hand that you're dealt right now.
Yeah.
Buy or don't buy, sell or don't sell. It's your prerogative, but you can either wait for something better, or you can go with what you know, because not all the time, not every single time you're going to get something better down the road, buying or selling, right? I mean, Michael, you've seen that. You've been in the game for a long time.
100%. And Greg, I know that most of our audience here is real estate professionals. And I'm going to just add in here that, what we're talking about today is we're talking about what the consumers are doing. But I
Right.
think it's important for you people as agents and for you and me, Greg, to realize that this is how we have to structure our business. You are in a business.
Yes.
Okay. Hands down. And what you need to focus on is how am I going to make money in my business? Because nobody's cutting you a check until you sell something.
Or do something productive, right? Exactly.
Do something. So I think what we need to make sure that you're focusing on is, are you making sure that your clients are aware of this? Are you making sure that when you approach your clients, you're treating it like a business? Because I don't want to make this a transactional business. This is about relationships. 100% hard stop. But each one of those relationships has a transaction in there somewhere. And you want to get to the bottom so that you're not working with people that aren't going to generate you. That doesn't mean you can't be their friends. That doesn't mean you can't help them. That doesn't mean that they can't be potential clients.
I love the air quotes.
The air quotes.
Potential clients.
If they're not money in your pocket, you need to rationalize the time and slice it up like the people that are in your life that use time. We all have them.
I call them time vampires. They just suck the life out of you because, or assholes. And I've had a lot of assholes, and everyone's like, "Are you saying asshole?" No, ask. A-S-K hole. Why am I saying that? Because they ask, and then anything I say goes right into a deep dark hole, never comes out ever again. Never to be seen by humanity.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Well, shut up, Michael. The funny thing is the fact that I have fallen for this. I had a couple that what they wanted to see is some really expensive homes. This is probably 15, 20 years ago. This is like back in the old school days, the OG days, right? And I should have read the signs, Michael. It was a middle-aged couple, and they were driving a busted ass old Ford Explorer, 2-door version with fast food wrappers up on the dash. I should have read all these signs, and they wanted to go see $5 million homes. And me being dumb face, I went and showed them every single freaking $5 million home I possibly could. Ultimately, I figured out they could never afford anything. I tried to get their lending information, but I got jerked around for a while. And I feel that a lot of the times agents, are active in the marketplace, get jerked around by being afraid of the hard questions. Hard questions equals easy relationships. Are you going to, what are your plans? Are you pre-approved? When are you going to get the money in? How long have you been employed? Do you plan on buying a fifth wheel anytime during this transaction?
Yes.
You're fired as a client.
But Greg, I think you're bringing up kind of an important point, and I want to make sure that we don't breeze past the other part of the story.
Okay.
Because I think there are a lot of agents out there, and I see this in myself all the time. I get excited about the person that I'm working with right now.
Yeah.
And I don't pay attention that I should to the other people, right? Because you've got to constantly, we talk about filling the funnel all the time. You will hear that. Keep the funnel full. Greg, it's hard.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's not, Michael. You want me to explain why it's not hard?
Okay. Tell me why it's not hard.
It comes in one word. Consistency.
Greg, I don't like consistency.
Oh, I've noticed. You and your door knocking. Trust me, I know you. But that's an inside funny joke, by the way. I told Michael to go door knocking and take out 25 business cards. He went to one door. The person said no, and he threw away the other 24 business cards and went home. Here's realistically what needs to take place. You find a problem and you work the problem. You find the solution. So if someone, you feel that you're being jerked around by buyers or sellers, one of the two, both of them maybe, who knows, right? Old, young, first time, last time buying and selling. Be upfront with them. Hey, my name's Michael Fielden. I've been a real estate agent for 20 plus years. I have 2 beautiful daughters and a beautiful, amazing wife, and I'm the provider. So my time is valuable. Is this an interest, or is this a reality that you want to see come true? Because I need to prioritize working with folks, and you are my number one priority. But I just want to make sure that we don't waste each other's time. Is that fair? That's a hard question or statement to make to somebody, but it's going to save you so much time. So you don't have to send them text messages at 2 a.m. going like, "Hey, Michael, are you still thinking about buying that house? Hey, Michael, are you still thinking about selling that property? Because I'd really like to talk to you." No, you've had the conversation. Move forward with it.
Greg, I never have that conversation.
That's the problem.
I never do. I'm like all over it, and I think I'm not alone.
Okay, so ask me the question. Let's role play. Be mean, Michael. Be Eminem on me, and ask me the hard question. Show me how it's done. Let me see how it goes. Let the viewing public see how this sounds, because you need to. Sometimes people need to see examples. So let me have it. I'm your buyer. I'm a first-time buyer. I'm in tech, which is, San Jose, right? I'm just using the biggest generalization as possible. And I want to buy my house, but I have one of my best friends, and he's in San Diego, and he's going to be putting the money up because he's a tech bajillionaire, and he farts $1 million. So, but he's going to be the final say on things. But I don't want to hurt your feelings. What kind of conversation are you going to have with me?
Oh, I'm terrible with these.
That's why we're practicing, buddy.
I'll give you a great example of.
Come on, just come after me.
Well, I actually want you to.
You are so nervous. Your body language is screaming nervous.
I don't know that I understand what the role play is here, but I want to give you a real world example, and you tell me how I should have done this differently. Okay. You referred somebody to me, and I did many weekends.
Yes, you did.
Showing them probably 50 properties 30 miles from my home. I even drove 3 hours one way to another town to show him 10 other properties.
That's right. And then do that.
Over a weekend, he popped out and bought a house in another state and decided he was going to move.
Yeah,
what
I remember
conversation did I miss?
Okay. So which side of that do you want me to tackle first?
I want you to be what should have been me.
Okay. So we have to give me a launch point. Where am I starting with this conversation?
Oh, hey, Greg, it's great to meet you. I was referred to you by Greg, and I think, this is an awesome opportunity for me. I've been looking around. I've got work opportunities here in California, and I just want to stop paying all this money towards rent. I am pre-approved. I've got a kind of low number. I'd like to stay under 500K. So I'm looking in the sticks here, and, what do I need to do?
Well, number one, first off, thanks for choosing me. Greg's a great guy, so I'm happy to be working with you, because birds of a feather flock together. Let me show you, and this is where the script comes in. Let me explain exactly how I run my business. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
tell
perfect.
me.
I'm glad we're getting off on the right foot here,
because I don't know anything. So
okay, well, welcome to life.
Most
buyers don't. That's perfect. That's that's what I'm here for. I'm here to advise you as we walk through this process. This is the business that I've been running for over 20 years, and this is how I've successfully got my buyers into properties that they love to this day. Number one is that we need to make sure our financing is 100% squared away. So I need to get your lender's information. I know you said that you're pre-approved and need his or her information, so I can have a agent to lender conversation. Very boring, but I need to chat with them. And number two, you said your price point. What's important about the 500,000 where you want to stay?
It just feels like that's what I can afford. That's about my rent. When my mortgage agent told me this, and here I am.
Okay, so let me ask you a hypothetical. What if we don't find something in that price point? What's your backup plan?
My backup plan will have to be stay renting.
Stay renting. What's more, if you were to stay renting, what would it do to your life if you were to buy versus rent?
I just think there's I'm pretty good with construction, so I could do some improvements if I buy something that's needs a little bit, and I'm hoping that I could build some equity and kind of use this real estate to step up, over and over again.
Okay, so you're pretty good. You're pretty handy is what I'm hearing. But the question was, what would it mean for you if you stayed renting versus buying if we couldn't find anything? Would that dramatically change your life or not?
No,
So this is more of a want, not a need. Is that correct?
it's a want.
Okay. So
I want to be a
what
homeowner.
would it what would it take for you to get to that need level? Because I want to spend time with the people who are going to be just as invested in this process as I am, because I want to make sure I don't waste your time on weekends by looking at stuff that you just ultimately not going to fall in love with.
Well, I think need's an interesting word, right? I'm still going to be breathing. I'm still going to be living. I still have all of these things in my my quiver. Do I need to buy? Sure. I feel like I'm at a point in my life where in order to get to the next step, I need to buy a home.
Okay. Well, you know what? I've heard that more than once, so you're not alone on that one. Why don't we do this? Let's just jump off this off this adventure together. Number one, send over your information about your lender and have a conversation with them. And number two, I have your email. It's 12345678910 at Gmail. I will send you over some information and some listings. You can take a look at myself and kind of what my team and I have done, and then some listings that are going to be in the parameters. Now, with the price point that you're talking about, what I'm going to do, so you don't yell at me, I'm going to bump your price point up to 600,000. And the only reason why is that I want to expose you to everything out there, so that, if we can find someone out there that wants to do a price correction, or if it's just the most perfect thing on earth, I didn't not show you. And that's not good English. I understand that, but you understand my point.
Sure.
But let's get this ball rolling, and then let's stay in constant communication and just make sure this is something that's going to be absolutely in your I must have goal category, so that we can work, successfully as a team together. Is that fair?
Very fair.
Cool. All right. I'll send the email. You send the email. Let's all get, go around the fireplace and give each other a big hug. All right. Cool. Bye. Click.
Okay.
So I'm trying to push the client away. I'm trying to disqualify the client. I want him or her to disqualify themselves. Now,
Sure.
why do I want to do that, Greg? Thank you for asking, Michael. The reason why is this. I don't want to force a square peg in a round hole. I don't want to make somebody feel obligated to buy or sell when it wasn't right for them, or if they can't find what they want. That's life. It's okay. But what you're doing is you're setting a precedent up front of how you work, what the expectations are, what you need from them. And they've agreed on this. Now, what you can do for that later is leverage that conversation. If Michael decides to get a little squirrely on me, it's like, well, we never talked about getting it up that high. Michael, yes, we did. We had it in our first conversation. Here's the email I sent at 10:37 on Monday a.m. Referencing back to our conversation. It's right there. Did you not receive it? I got it. Okay. So is there something I can clarify for you? No.
Is that how I sound?
Yeah. But the thing is that you're allowing them to think that they're in control of the process, when in reality, as the agent, as the professional, you have to lead this, because people are looking for leaders in areas they're not familiar with. Like, you could be a mechanical engineer that can build anything that has nuts and bolts, right? And I'm not that guy. I don't know the process. I really don't. But I know how to sell stuff, and I know how to market. That's what I'm good at. I can find things. I can network. That's what I'm good at. So what I'm saying is that you lay the ground rules, who you are, what you do, how you do it, who you work with, expectations, timeframes, and then a want, need, or desire, because you're going to need to find that want, need, or desire with these buyers at some point, and the sellers, because they're going to hit bumps. They're going to not understand disclosures or timeframes or this earnest money thing. Do I have to give it to them, or do I keep it in my account? No, you got to put it in escrow. We're not an attorney state, blah, blah, blah. Education is key, and then allow themselves to filter out sooner than later. Or they drop it into fifth gear and they just take off like a bat out of hell, and they're with you, and they're out looking at houses. They're in lockstep with you in the process, and you guys get them in the house and they love you, and they write a great review for you, and they refer their friends to you. Why? because you made one of the most horrible processes known to mankind. Actually, there's a study done in 2014 that stated to the fact that buyers and sellers would rather spend a weekend in prison, not jail, prison, than do another real estate deal in the next year.
Yeah.
That's horrible, dude. That's horrible.
That is pretty bad if you think about it.
But think about it. So the agents have the same experience because you get jerked around like a dog on a chain, and then you're angry and you're resentful at the client, and then you don't talk, and then you wonder why they don't send you referrals. And it's a horrible, horrible cycle. Get the conversation up front, be clear, don't sugarcoat it, and be honest.
Yeah.
You will have client. You want to talk about a relationship business? When's the last time you heard a relationship fall apart based upon, someone being 100% transparent and honest about their thoughts, feelings, and needs, wants, and desires in life? And if the other person knows it and they still didn't want it, that's because the two people weren't a match.
Right.
It's simple. Just think of it as dating. The person that you're working with, you're dating them business-wise, not personally. Most of the cases. I've actually dated a couple of my clients. But that story doesn't.
That's your own bad. I just celebrated my 24th anniversary. There will be no dating. All right, Greg.
Congratulations, buddy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so we're 36 minutes in. Let's wrap this up. I think that the lesson for everybody today is be a leader in the transaction. Be someone that people can trust and that is authentic about what is important to them. I think all too often agents sacrifice their integrity for nothing less than trying to get the next dollar. And I want you guys to avoid doing that. We are about building up your self-esteem, having a goal, an objective, and a toolkit, a toolbox, a little belt if you want, little handyman to be the Flash, to be.
I'm just going to bring that up. Damn it.
Be the Green Lantern. Or wait, you could be Aquaman.
Shut up. God. That's an inside joke, by the way, guys. That's an inside joke.
But all of those things. And I think the important part to pull out of this is you've got to constantly work at improving yourselves. You don't have to door knock. You probably should. But you have to be true to yourself. No matter what you are doing, be true to yourself.
You're right, Michael. And I think that's a great way to end it. And you know what? I talked about what I do, right? Great. Take what Michael said, figure out what works best for you.
Yes.
That is what people are buying. They're buying you. They're not buying your brand. Well, they are buying your own personal brand. They're not buying your brokerage brand for the most part. What they're buying is the human being that shows up and says, hey, bro, how you doing? Let's get this thing going. Let's make it happen for you. That's what they're buying, the human connection. Be honest, be truthful, be real. Don't sugarcoat. And overall, choose fun. Have fun doing this. Laugh a little bit. When you get kicked in the hoo-ha, just be like, wow, that's a learning opportunity. And then you never stick your finger back in the light socket again. So on that wonderful electrifying note, right with the bolt in line there, Michael, final thoughts, and we are out of here, bro.
Final thoughts is everybody have a great week. It is time to get out there and march. Interest rates are high. You need to work harder. Demand is down. You need to work harder. Listings are up. You need to work harder. And that means stronger, better. Don't lose momentum as we go into summer. And be back here next week. Like, subscribe, follow wherever those buttons are on your screen. Hit them. And Greg, have a great week.
Michael, you're a blessing to spend time with. Every single person listening and watching us, you are insanely powerful people. Now go show us how awesome sauce you are. Love you guys. Boom, peace. We gone.
Peace.